And here we are, in the beginning of the blooming season. And because of how much it makes my dad struggle, I think I'll help in geoponics. Oh! Yay! I think I'll help in geoponics. Maybe explore the xenobotany lab? Hey kiddo, your dad says, looking up from his work desk where he's dissecting a huge bell-shaped flower. Can you hand me that separator? I've really got my hands in things here. You hand him the tool, which he uses to wedge open some sort of weird stoma-like opening inside the bell. Gooey purple nectar oozes out of the pools onto the desk. Whoa, he exclaims. I thought I drained this little beauty. Can you get a towel, I guess? You help him mop up the flower juice. Yuck, it's sticky and smells like rotting vegetables. When you're done, he looks at you with pride. You know, I've been thinking of getting one of you kids to come help me out with the research of native plants, he says. You think you might be able to break off some time to help your old man in the lab? I know you've been studying biology, he adds. It's not as glamorous as gene tech research with instance, but it is important. He grins. Let me talk to your mom about it tonight before you go telling her. She's not a fan of alien plants, you know? If it were up to her, we'd fill these greenhouses with earth plants and nothing else. But there's gotta be more on this planet that we can cultivate. If you find any cool plants while you're exploring, bring them here and we can take a look at them. Sure. In that case, maybe let's try it. Your dad introduces you to the little lab they have set up in the greenhouses. It's incredible, he says, gesturing all around him. We're surrounded by alien flora, and we know practically nothing about it. What's edible, what's medicine, what we can make fibers with, or build with, or use in ways we haven't thought of yet. He beams at you. You and me, we're gonna find out, my little potato. Your dad directs you to a research bench, and here's where you'll be working. The bench is buried under samples and beakers and weird-looking alien sprouts. More than just a simple table, the analysis bench is covered with buttons and little holes you can put things into. Carefully find the on switch. There is no on switch. Okay, maybe don't touch anything? Go ahead and mess around, your dad encourages you. You won't break anything. And maybe there's a hole I'm supposed to stick something in? You put one of the seedlings into a small slot on the table. A little door slides shut and then reopens. A loud brrr noise startles you. Oh no, you broke it, your dad laughs. Nah, just kidding, you're fine. Good instincts, kiddo. You smash all the buttons on the table until yo yo yo, kiddo! It's congruence. The ship's friendly computer beams at you from one of her holoscreens set on the bench. Of course she's here. She's the guardian of all knowledge in the colony, after all. You wonder who she got yo 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 from. Probably my dad. Your dad laughs. Don't tell anyone, but congruence is the real brains of the operation, he confesses, though it's not like it's a secret. She'll make sure we don't do anything super dangerous, which means you and I get to focus on experimentation. If you follow the rules and stick to what you already know, you won't learn anything new, so don't be afraid to try stuff. I guess we can study that mushwood. You examine the mushwood under a microscope and take notes on its cellular structure. Part of the reason it needs to be harvested and wet is because the cells get so saturated that they lose structural integrity and turn to, well, mush during glow. Studying the exact process by which the cells take in water leads to a breakthrough. It might be possible to hack the process and stop the mushwood trees from taking on too much water during wet. If they don't take on as much water, they won't take as long to dry. Oh, yes! The colony defense is higher now. You should be able to develop a spray that the loggers can apply to the fruiting body of the mushwood, the part that sticks out above ground, to close its pores. Reducing the negative pressure in the body should stop it from pulling so much water into the micellar network underground. This is great! Logging will be much more efficient now. Your dad comes back from work one day looking seriously under the weather. Oh no. He's pale with deep circles under his eyes and he keeps sneezing. I'm fine, he insists. It's just all the pollen in the air. It's gunking up the old air tubes. Do you remember hay fever, Flulu? We always got it back on Earth, too. Your mom frowns and crosses her arms. We did, she agrees. So why isn't it bothering me? You're a lot tougher than me, sweet pea, your dad says, and your mom rolls her eyes. I'm sure I just have to get used to it, like you did, he continues. Maybe I'll go for a stroll outside the gates later. No! Why do you keep wanting to go outside the gates? Really get a good lungful of stuff. No! I'll feel bad for a few weeks, but after that, I'll be fine. Your mom raises in both eyebrows. Outside the gates? You? Your dad shrugs, then he falls into a fit of sneezing and can't answer. Your mom directs him to go lie down on the bed. You need rest, not machismo, she scolds him. I don't have achoo! Your dad sneezes. A macho bone in my body, foo-foo. And I have to fertilize the corn and the pixie beans this week. Uh-huh. Your mom grunts. Your dad pulls a handkerchief out of his pocket and sneezes into it a few times. Big, yelling honk sneezes that echoes through your whole quarters. He pulls it away from his face, and you can tell that something's wrong. Yeah, like the fact that the spores are coming from in you. Huh? Your dad says weakly, holding the handkerchief away from his face. It's bright fuchsia pink and glittering in the light. That's weird. Then his eyes roll to the back of his head, knees buckled, and your mom yells at you to call Instance. Chief Engineer Instance takes your dad's files and gives him a cursory look over, but she seems satisfied with what she sees without having to do a thorough examination. The explorers have started to call this the shimmer, she says, shining a light down your dad's throat. He's looking a little better, but not much. It's an airborne environmental toxin, likely in the pollen fog. Dad? It doesn't seem to cause long-term damage to the body. That is false, Instance explains. She gestures in the air, making notes on her hollow eye that only she can see. I've been tracking its effects for 3 seasons now. The toxin is flushed out of the body after 3 to 5 days, and it's not contagious. She looks down at your father. What that means for you, Geranium, since you're particularly susceptible to the toxin, you should be taking better pains to avoid exposure. If you must go outside during pollen, use a respirator. Yes. Please. Your dad smiles weakly. You got it, boss, he says. Your mom smiles and puts her hand over his. As your literal boss, I'm ordering you not to come into work for the rest of the week, she says. You're on strict bed rest. She leans to touch her forehead to his. They stay like that, smiling with relief. Even after 1 day of bed rest, your dad is looking a lot better. He's clearly anxious to get back out to the fields. You're gonna love this new crop, Solanna. It's called Pixie Bean. They glow in the dark. He's already pulling on his boot. The fields look so beautiful at night. I'm happy we finally found something that would actually grow that isn't soy, and more soy. Yeah, they're pretty, but they're mind-altering. You dreamed about these beans. They make people act all funny, then they get sick. Your dad laughs. Someone's been reading too many weird hollow novels before bed, Solanna, he says, ruffling your hair. Don't worry about it, my little tomato. I've been studying them since we landed, including eating them. He gestures broadly to himself. Look at me. I'm in great health. No, you're not. Your dad is acting pretty strange, but maybe it's just the shimmer brain? You remember the pixie beans mostly affected the teenagers. You wish you could remember more. But Dad... No buts, your dad says. I'm certain that pixie beans are the future of our food supply. Even your mom agrees. You look over at your mom, trying to get her on your side. She barely looks up from her hollow screen. Come on, Mom, you're the one who's cautious about the alien plants. As you should be. Tammy. Tammy is crying and trying to hide it, wiping her eyes and blowing snot into her sleeve. Oh, what's wrong? She hiccups, I watched that scary movie last night in the lounge. You remembered it. Mothra vs. Godzilla, the 2085 remake version. Well, sniffling. I had a bad dream where the monsters were knocking at my bedroom window. They were trying to get in. Now I can't stop thinking about it. She squeezes her eyes shut and more tears seep out. I miss my dad. He used to make me feel safe from the monsters, and I miss being in space. It was so much safer there. Maybe... Well, Mothra and Godzilla aren't real. She looks down at her hands embarrassed. I know, but there are real monsters out there in the jungle. That's true. That's very true. I can hear them. I can hear them trying to get in. They're scary. They are. You both look towards the wall. She does have those big ears. Maybe she really can hear creatures gathering in the jungle, scratching at the walls, looking for weak points. The thought gives you shivers. Oh, Tammy. Oh, you can throw a surprise party with 80 empathy. Oh, that's cute. Tammy appears to be knitting a long thing. It looks like a scarf, but she sees your confusion and giggles, covering her mouth. I know we have nanoprinters, and I know it doesn't really get cold enough here to make a scarf, but I just thought it's good to practice. Well, yeah, I'm sure it's fun. Since you were feeling down, do you maybe want a cake? Hey, Cal. Cal has collected a fine assortment of plastic and metal containers and assembled them into what passes for a drum set, and is clattering away at them echoes through the garden. When he sees you, he twirls his drumsticks and gives you a cheeky smile. What? They were gonna get nano-recycled anyway. Want to hear a fun nature fact? You tell him about the time Tang brought a skunk bug to show and tell for biology, and it got scared and made the worst, most smelliest, grossest stink you have ever smelled, and everyone thought Tang had farted. Then Professor Hal had to clear out the whole room, and it took weeks to get the smell out of the beanbags, and it was so gross, but also kind of neat how such a tiny bug can make a whole room of kids run away. Cal laughs. I remember that, Solanna, except the way I heard it, it wasn't Tang, it was you. Yeah, I suppose it doesn't really sound like something Tang would do. Uh-oh. Speaking of Tang. Your hollow palm pulses with a message from Tang. Hello, Solanna. If you're not occupied, could I ask for your assistance in the lab? Thanks in advance. Tangent. Typical Tang, but her asking for help is something so rare you can't really help but head right over. You find her hunched over a spectrometer, making notes on a holoscreen. Oh, you're here, she says, blinking rapidly. She looks like she's been awake for days, wrinkled, a little shiny, and with the wide-eyed look of someone who needs a cup of lep tea. I came as soon as I could. I'm researching this shimmer, the respiratory illness some people report during pollen, she says. I'm loath to admit it, but I need your assistance. Oh, yes, it's very important that we get this figured out. She takes 4 vials with swabs inside and puts them in your hands. I need recent saliva samples from both you and your father, she says. There must be a reason why he's so susceptible to this shimmer and you're not. You share half of your genetic code with him. There must be some markers we can compare between the 2 samples. Then, she continues, pulling another vial from the rack of test tubes, administer this to yourself. Wait 3 days and take samples again. The test should be able to determine if anything in your body chemistry has changed. Tang looks at you very seriously, cutting through her bleary expression. There's something going on here, she whispers, something really, really big. I've begun to realize this is about more than just curing a disease. She squeezes your hand so hard it almost hurts. Unlocking the secrets of the shimmer, who it affects and why, could lead to a greater understanding of all life on Vertumna. And knowledge is more than power, Solanna. It's control. Okay, I'll do it to help my dad feel better, hopefully. Thank you, Tang says. I've been researching so hard, I think my eyes are gonna fall out of my head. And for what? Well, for the end of debilitating disease is a pretty good reason, but Tang just shakes her head at herself before you answer. We're at a disadvantage here, she mutters. We're fighting blind. We need to understand this planet if we're going to get it under control. Yeah, it is important to try to understand what's going on so that we can make it better, hopefully. Dad? You spot your dad looking longingly towards the forest. You ever think about what's out there? He muses. There could be anything. We don't even know. He sighs and leans on his rake. And I'm stuck here, pushing dirt around. Well, there's lots of scary, dangerous things out there. And since Tangent needed my help, maybe we'll go to life sciences again. Tangent stops you on the way to class. Solanna, were you heading to life sciences? Good, I could use your help with something actually. I'm working with Chief Engineer Instance in the biolab. If you give me a hand with it, I'm sure she'll give you credit for the class. Sure. Honestly, Tang admits, we just need somebody to label the petri dishes and move them from the cooler to a different machines. A hop-eye could do it. Instance is staring unfocused at her hollow eye, and she processes the results of the scans. Tang goes and stands beside her, pulling up the scan on her own holopalm. They confer quietly while you wait. Sounds like they're studying the shimmer, the mysterious illness some colonists get during pollen every year, including my dad. Instance looks up at you as if noticing your existence. Ah, Solanna, she says. We've been studying samples from some of the colonists who get sick with pollen, including your dad. Some of the stuff in his lungs, it's some kind of fungus. Yeah, we think the shimmer is a form of reproduction, Tang explains. It's like a fungus trying to turn us into more fungus. Like it. It's really neat, actually. Kind of scary, though. I mean, what about the fungus that does that to ants on Earth? It kills them, guys. That too, Tang replies, though she looks more excited than scared. We'd be much safer if the surveyors just set fire to it all rather than trying to study it. Who knows what else is out there trying to kill us? Well, that's a bit much, Tang. You spend the rest of the week helping them study the illness. Mostly this involves following instructions and doing, as Tang loves to repeat, jobs a Hopeye could do. Nothing beats hands-on experience, though. This would be easier if we had an actual sample of the fungus, Instance remarks. They're working with some biological samples. A fancy word for snot. But according to them, the fungus is all mixed with human cells. Instance has to spend a lot of time in Vertstrace trying to disconnect the two in her models. Where can I find a sample? Our most useful reports have been from foragers returning from the Valley of Vertigo, she tells you, where the pollen is thick all year. That might be a good place to start. It's time for your end-of-term project. You, Tang, and Cal are all ready to prove that you're capable scientists. Seeing as everyone works together in the colony, you're expected to come up with a project that the three of you can agree on. You can already tell that's going to be a problem. We should do a genetics experiment, insists Tang. I have access to the lab around the clock, and I'm already in there every day. It'd be so simple to just come up with an experiment for something that I'm already working on, and efficient is the perfect choice. Cal considers. I don't know. Lab work is only half the picture, you know? I think we should go to geoponics for some hands-on biology. Mimer is almost ready to give birth, and she had trouble during her last calving. Aww, baby Floatcow, he says. You think he's talking about a Floatcow. We should volunteer to monitor her around the clock and document the process. Then we can help deliver the calf. Tang looks disgusted. Absolutely not, she sneers. I am not getting my hands all up in some Floatcow's guts just because you want to play farmer instead of scientist. She pokes her fingers into Cal's chest. What are your data points? What's your hypothesis? Do you have a control group? Where's the science, Cal? Just studying it is the science. You aren't better than the others just because you work indoors, Cal snaps. It's so rare to see someone actually get under his skin. Every day I live and breathe biology, genetics, medicine, and ecology, just like you. Science isn't just about doing experiments. Observation is important too. So is compassion and empathy. Tang scoffs. Well, I agree with Cal. They both look at you. What do you want to do for the project? A report on animal husbandry. I'm glad you see things my way, Cal says. He has the look of someone who's trying not to be smug, but it isn't quite getting there. Baby Floatcow, baby Floatcow. Okay, so that's more. Yay! Oh boy! Oh. Man, I wish having my little automatic find the best number thing. And how many? I only have 2. I mean... Okay. And now, I guess push through? You spend a few days observing Mimer the Floatcow, who is so huge and gravid that she can barely float at all. You're on watch when she goes into labor. Oh boy. You call Tang and Cal to the barn, then Cal gets in there and safely delivers the calf. And you mean he really gets in there, because the calf gets stuck at one point and Cal has to go in up to his shoulder after it. It's gruesome and scary, but in the end both Cal and calf are alive. After another week of veterinary care and close study, you write up your report. Hal smiles at you. Congratulations, you three! This is wonderful work. You do the colony proud. Don't forget, learning is a lifelong journey, he says, so feel free to audit this class whenever you'd like. Oh, increased rewards for studying life sciences. Cool. Now it's late pollen. I want to see... Oh wow, I already have 51 friendship with Cal and 35 with Tammy. And I think... I said... You cautiously step through the colony gates. Solanna, how's it going, little sis? Chief Surveyor Utopia steps casually out to bar your way while making it look accidental. Whoa there, I don't know if you're ready to head out and there and join the surveyors just yet. Why don't you skedaddle and stick to sports ball inside the walls for now? She rubs her knuckles into your scalp and sends you on your way. But I need to get to the Valley of Vertigo. That's where the pollen is coming from. I need to help my dad. But it is scary. What do you think? Well, I'll be, Utopia draws, grappling you playfully. You ain't lying, kid. You got grit. Listen, she tells you, I'll speak to your parents. You're still a bit young, but I'd wager next year you can join the surveyors team, alright? Just hold tight until then. Sorry, Sprout. Yeah, but still, my dad needs help as soon as he can get so that the shimmer doesn't kill him. Dejected, you drag your feet as you walk back through the gates to safety. Psst, what's that? You look around questioningly. Psst, it's Dees. He's hiding behind some bushes? That's so typical. He puts a finger to his lips and motions for you to follow him. Sure, I guess why not? He leads you silently along the walls towards the garrison. He then crouches down in the bushes between the sports ball field and the security pavilion to fiddle with something. Suddenly, he's gone. What? You check to make sure nobody else notices, then scuttle over to where you last saw him. Behind some popflower bushes, there's a drainage pipe in the wall big enough to crawl through. A heavy grate keeps animals out, but it's loose. You could slide it aside to get through. I could sneak out, but that's really dangerous. If the adults won't let you visit the Valley of Vertigo or the Sequoia Swamps or the other cool places surveyors get to go, well, you could sneak through and explore just the outside of the colony walls. If Dees does it, how dangerous could it be? I mean, thanks for showing me, Dees, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, you know? And I guess I'll help Dad in the xenobotany. Then, since he hasn't been feeling well, I guess I could talk to Cal and Tammy too. It is pretty out in the pollen, but it's so very dangerous. Tammy is sitting quietly in the lounge, seemingly not doing anything at all. As you approach, she looks up and dabs her eyes, sniffing a little. Oh, sorry, don't mind me, she says, putting on a brave smile. Sometimes I just, I think about how much I miss my dad. Yeah. I missed my dad too. Hey, Squirt, your mom calls out to you. Don't you think it's time you started thinking about what you're gonna do when you're older? You look at her in confusion. Isn't she always telling you to stay in school? She chuckles. You gotta think about it sometime, kid. How about you come join your folks on the farm? You think you're up to it? I guess. Your mom claps you on the back. Oof, she's just as strong as she looks. Great, she says. Come see me in geoponics when you're ready to start. It'll be more fun than wheeling dirt around, I promise. Okay. Maybe we can do that next time? But I think for the most part I'd like to do something staying inside where I'm sheltered from all the animals that could kill me. And for now, I think we'll see what we have next time in the dust season.